Hello, and today I'm joined by Gracjan Lambert, who's Chief Executive Officer at Redemperor Resources. How are you doing, Gracjan?
Very good, thank you.
Right, you're recently appointed to this company. Putting it the other way around, what attracted you to this business, this company?
I've spent the last 10 years plus with an oil major. I previously worked for other big oil and gas companies, and I've always wanted to go into a smaller entity, something more exciting, something more lean. And speaking to this gentleman at Redemperor and the asset that they acquired recently, I found it very exciting. I think it's a great opportunity, so that really sort of made the case for me to come across and lead this.
I mean, the projects are the same, whether it's BP trying to develop it or any other company. What are the pluses and minuses of operating, within a smaller vehicle? I
mean, the minuses clearly are it's a small entity, so you don't have all the support that you do in the major company. You don't have the extensive balance sheet. But the upside is it's much more efficient. It's much more lean. It's leaner. It's quicker to act. There's not much bureaucracy.
So nimble.
It's very nimble, very agile, and that's really interesting. And it's also important for the shareholders because they don't want us to be wasting money with 15, 20 people in the office we don't really need.
Right. And you're a shareholder in the company. I mean, you're going to be actively involved in that way.
Yes, I am. I have some options in the company, and I definitely plan to be active in that manner.
Right. And in terms of the project here, what is in the overall scale of things? Is it large, small, medium? How would you judge it?
I'd say it's actually reasonably large. In my experience, when you start getting towards the 500 million barrel size potential, resource, they're quite large. You look around, a lot of people will tell you 100 million, 200 million is good. So 400 million would excite a large cap, a large oil major. For a company of our size, it's massive.
And in terms of finding the opportunity, how much of a coup was that? I mean, is this something that doesn't turn up very often? I mean, how would you rate that?
I'd say it's a fantastic coup. I think the guys did a great job. They got wind of the opportunity and jumped on it straight away and brought in the appropriate operator, make sure we could drill on time and meet our commitments. No, I think it was a very big coup. These opportunities don't come across very often, especially the cost of, it was a very, very low cost deal to do in a fantastic area with massive discoveries, huge production. It just doesn't come across very often.
And so, I mean, deal making is just as important as being a geologist in your area.
Definitely. No, definitely.
And do you have that experience as well on the geology side?
I do. So I'm a geophysicist. I spent the last 5 years in the ExxonMobil commercial organisation, primarily negotiating deals, running project economics, negotiating with partners, governments and so forth. So I do have considerable experience doing that.
Any particular things about the Alaskan landscape that maybe people who are interested in the company should know?
Well, I think people need to know that it's produced over 17 billion barrels in the last 30, 40 years or so. Still produces around 500 million barrels a day. It's a huge, prolific oil-producing area. Has still two of the biggest fields in the US. There, one which has produced 13 billion barrels to date. That's the famous Prudhoe Bay. It's just a great part of the world to look for oil. And if you want to look for oil, you want to do it where oil's been found, oil's been produced.
Right, so the Russians should be kicking themselves for having sold that area.
Wasn't such a good deal in hindsight.
Yeah, and in terms of, are you always looking around to see other opportunities as well? I mean,
yes, we are. We are all actively looking. I see a lot of opportunities weekly come across my desk, and we screen them and put them up against what we have, and ticks the box or it doesn't. But we're constantly actively looking for the next good opportunity for the company. And
your training ground, I mean, you've had the history maybe on all sides of the sort of the corporate area in this particular sector. Do you think that, I mean, in terms of your peers, do you see that in the small cap area, are they fully experienced? Are they as experienced as they should be?
I'd say some are, some aren't necessarily. I'll leave it at that.
But it is a difficult area in terms of getting things over the line.
Small cap, yeah. I mean, it is just because you are small and you have a limited amount of funds. Usually, you don't have the big production backing you up. You don't have the revenues that the big companies have, but which have been around for 50 years or longer, especially the majors. So that makes it a little tougher because if you don't have a success, you have to go back to the market, and then you have shareholders who might not be very happy with what you've done. But saying that, the upside is astronomical. It's hugely leveraged. So for a company in this magnitude to drill something like this, and if it turns out to be a discovery, as we hope it will, I mean, it's a blue sky event, which you won't get that in a large company.
Right, I'd love to ask you where you think the oil price is going to go, but that might be slightly problematic. But I mean, we've had oil swinging between, let's say, upper 20s
Sure.
and $80 a barrel over the last 2-3 years. I mean, how much notice do you take of that?
Not too much, ultimately. I'll be honest with you. You know, we like it to be high, not too high. I think it probably overshot when it went up to 80. It's probably now gone a little too low, and it's probably going to rebalance somewhere in the middle. But ultimately, in my experience, if you have a good project, you can make money when oil's at $40 a barrel. And it comes down to that. I think people get in trouble when they commit to projects which have a high commercial threshold.
And in terms of the demand, how does that affect you? I mean, is it generally? I mean, obviously we've had a bull market of 10 years on the stock market, and general economic growth has been rather good.
Yep.
Have these been good times for the oil producers as well?
I think, well, no, the last few years it hasn't been the best for them. Oil price collapsed. They had a great run for quite a while, for the previous sort of 10 years or so, but for the last 4 or 5 it's been quite tough.
There's demand, I mean, like the demographics of the demand, or the geography, that there's more demand from China, less from India.
Yeah, it's slightly shifting, and you keep hearing articles that demand is falling off, or we're going to stop using oil, but I haven't really seen it materialise to any great respect that's actually impacting the industry.
Right. And so your plan for your first year in office here at Redemperor, are there any particular goals that you have?
Well, the primary goal right now is to drill a successful well and hopefully find something and deliver tremendous shareholder value. Additionally, is to go out and find the next best asset for us to drill.
We'll see how that develops. Gracjan Lambert, CEO at Redemperor Resources, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.